Determine the scope of work. Review the contract to see if the framing contractor is responsible for providing sufficient furring for light installation. Inquire with the project manager or architect for clarification on the scope of work. Consider standard industry practices. Typically, framing contractors are responsible for providing rough framing that allows for the installation of all building components, including lights. This includes ensuring that there is sufficient space for furring to accommodate the desired ceiling height and light fixtures. Communicate with the contractor. Discuss concerns with the framing contractor. Explain a belief that they are responsible for providing enough furring to meet the project specifications. Present evidence from the contract or industry practices to support the request. Negotiate a solution. If the contractor is unwilling to provide the necessary furring, negotiate a mutually acceptable solution. This could involve the contractor providing additional furring or agreeing to a reduced payment if you are responsible for installing it yourself. Protect interests. Document all conversations and agreements with the contractor in writing. If necessary, consider consulting with an attorney to ensure rights are protected. Additional considerations. The cost of installing first strips may be significant, so factor this into the budget and negotiations. If you decide to install the first strips yourself, ensure that they are properly installed and meet all building codes. In electrical work, understanding the National Electrical Code, or NEC, is important. This code provides guidelines and standards for electrical installations to ensure safety. One key area is the proper installation of recessed lighting, often called lights. The NEC addresses various aspects of recessed lighting, including the required clearances from combustible materials, the type of insulation allowed near the fixture, and the proper wiring methods. Article 410.16 C of the NEC specifically addresses recessed luminaires, or lights. It outlines the requirements for thermal protection, which is crucial to prevent overheating and potential fire hazards. Recessed lighting fixtures must be identified for use and installed in a manner that does not create a fire hazard. The NEC mandates that recessed luminaires be installed with adequate spacing from combustible materials such as wood, drywall, and insulation. This spacing is crucial to allow heat to dissipate from the fixture and prevent the surrounding materials from reaching ignition temperature. The specific spacing requirements are often indicated on the luminaire's label or in the manufacturer's instructions. The NEC also addresses the use of insulation around recessed luminaires. Many recessed lights are insulation contact, or IC, rated, which means they are designed to be in direct contact with insulation. However, non-IC rated fixtures require a specific clearance from insulation to prevent overheating. This clearance is typically 3 inches from the sides and top of the fixture, but always refer to the manufacturer's instructions for exact specifications. When installing recessed lighting, it's important to use the correct wiring methods and connections. All wiring must comply with the NEC requirements for the circuit's voltage and amperage. The NEC specifies the types of conductors and wiring methods that are suitable for use in recessed lighting installations. Proper grounding is also essential to ensure electrical safety. The NEC requires that all metal parts of the luminaire be grounded to provide a path for fault current in case of a short circuit. This grounding helps to prevent electrical shock hazards. Furthermore, the NEC requires that all electrical connections be made inside approved junction boxes. These boxes provide a safe enclosure for the wiring connections and protect them from damage. The connections must be made using approved connectors and methods such as wire nuts or crimp connectors. In addition to the NEC, local building codes may have additional requirements for recessed lighting installations. It's important to check with the local building department to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Failure to comply with these codes can result in fines, delays, and potential safety hazards. When planning a recessed lighting installation, consider the layout and spacing of the fixtures. The NEC provides guidelines for the minimum and maximum spacing between luminaires to achieve the desired lighting levels. The spacing should be based on the type of fixture, the height of the ceiling, and the intended use of the space. Proper spacing ensures uniform illumination and prevents hot spots or dark areas. The NEC also addresses the use of dimmers with recessed lighting. When using dimmers, it's important to ensure that they are compatible with the type of lamps being used. Some dimmers are specifically designed for use with incandescent lamps, while others are designed for use with LED lamps. Using an incompatible dimmer can cause flickering, buzzing, or premature lamp failure. The NEC also requires that dimmers be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. This includes ensuring that the dimmer is properly grounded and that it is rated for the load it will be controlling. It's also important to consider the accessibility of recessed lighting fixtures for maintenance and repairs. The NEC requires that luminaires be accessible without damaging the building structure or finish. This means that the fixtures should be located in a place where they can be easily reached for lamp replacement or other maintenance tasks. In summary, installing recessed lighting requires careful attention to the NEC and local building codes. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that the installation is safe, efficient, and compliant with all applicable regulations. Always consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns about recessed lighting installations. The NEC also addresses the specific requirements for installing recessed lighting in damp or wet locations. For example, in bathrooms or outdoor areas, the NEC requires the use of luminaires that are specifically listed for use in wet locations. These fixtures are designed to withstand moisture and prevent electrical hazards. The NEC also requires the use of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in wet locations to provide additional protection against electrical shock. GFCIs are devices that detect small imbalances in the electrical current and quickly shut off the power to prevent injury. When installing recessed lighting in suspended ceilings, the NEC requires that the fixtures be properly supported and secured. This can be accomplished by using hanger bars or other approved methods to attach the fixtures to the ceiling grid. The NEC also requires that the wiring be supported independently of the ceiling grid to prevent strain on the connections. In addition to the technical aspects of recessed lighting, the NEC also addresses the aesthetic considerations. For example, the NEC requires that the luminaires be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. This means that the wiring should be properly routed and secured, and the fixture should be aligned and level. The NEC also prohibits the use of exposed wiring or connections, as these can be unsightly and create a safety hazard. When planning a recessed lighting installation, it's important to consider the overall design of the space. The type of fixtures, the color temperature of the lamps, and the placement of the fixtures can all have a significant impact on the look and feel of the room. The NEC provides guidelines for selecting the appropriate lighting for different applications such as residential, commercial, and industrial spaces. The NEC also addresses the use of energy-efficient lighting technologies such as LED lamps. LED lamps consume significantly less energy than traditional incandescent lamps and have a much longer lifespan. The NEC encourages the use of LED lighting to reduce energy consumption and lower electricity bills. When installing LED recessed lighting, it's important to ensure that the fixtures are compatible with the existing wiring and control systems. Some LED fixtures require a specific type of dimmer or control system to function properly. The NEC also addresses the disposal of old lamps and fixtures. Many lamps contain hazardous materials, such as mercury, and must be disposed of properly to prevent environmental contamination. The NEC encourages the recycling of lamps and fixtures to reduce waste and conserve resources. In addition to the NEC, there are other organizations that provide guidance and standards for recessed lighting installations. For example, the Illuminating Engineering Society, or WISE, publishes recommended practices for lighting design and installation. The IES guidelines provide detailed information on selecting the appropriate lighting levels for different tasks and spaces. The NEC is not a design manual, but it is a safety standard. Design considerations are within the architect's and engineer's area of expertise. It's important to remember that the NEC is a living document that is updated regularly to reflect changes in technology and industry practices. It's essential to stay up to date on the latest NEC requirements to ensure that your recessed lighting installations are safe and compliant. The NEC is a set of minimum standards. It's often advisable to exceed these standards to improve the safety and performance of your electrical installations. For example, you might choose to use larger conductors or higher quality fixtures than required by the NEC to enhance the reliability and longevity of your lighting system. When working with electricity, it's always best to err on the side of caution. If you are not sure about something, consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer. They can provide expert guidance and ensure that your recessed lighting installation is done safely and correctly. The NEC also addresses the use of low-voltage recessed lighting systems. Low-voltage systems operate at a lower voltage than standard 120 volts or 277 volts systems, typically 12 volts or 24 volts. Low-voltage lighting can be more energy efficient and safer than standard voltage lighting, especially in wet or damp locations. When installing low-voltage recessed lighting, it's important to use the correct transformers and wiring methods. The NEC provides specific requirements for low-voltage wiring to prevent overheating and voltage drop. The NEC also addresses the use of wireless lighting control systems. Wireless systems allow you to control your recessed lighting from a remote location, such as a smartphone or tablet. Wireless lighting control can be convenient and energy efficient, but it's important to ensure that the system is installed properly and that it complies with all applicable codes and regulations. The NEC is a complex and comprehensive document that covers a wide range of electrical topics. It's not possible to cover every aspect of recessed lighting in this discussion. However, this overview should provide you with a basic understanding of the key NEC requirements for recessed lighting installations. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and local built-in codes for complete and accurate information. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous. If you're not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician to do the job. A qualified electrician will have the knowledge, skills, and experience to install recessed lighting safely and correctly. In addition to the NEC and local building codes, there are other resources available to help you with your recessed lighting project. For example, many manufacturers of recessed lighting fixtures offer detailed installation instructions and technical support. You can also find helpful information online from various sources, such as websites, forums, and videos. Before you start your recessed lighting project, take the time to do your research and plan carefully. This will help you avoid costly mistakes and ensure that your installation is safe, efficient, and compliant with all applicable regulations. The NEC also addresses the use of emergency lighting in commercial and industrial buildings. Emergency lighting is designed to provide illumination during a power outage, allowing occupants to safely evacuate the building. Recessed lighting fixtures can be used as part of an emergency lighting system, but they must be specifically listed for emergency use. The NEC requires that emergency lighting systems be tested regularly to ensure that they are functioning properly. The testing should be performed by a qualified electrician and documented in a written record. The NEC also addresses the use of lighting in hazardous locations, such as areas where flammable materials are present. In these locations, the NEC requires the use of explosion-proof lighting fixtures that are designed to prevent ignition of the flammable materials. Explosion-proof fixtures are typically more expensive than standard lighting fixtures, but they are essential for safety in hazardous locations. The NEC is constantly evolving to keep pace with new technologies and industry practices. It's important to stay informed about the latest changes to the NEC to ensure that your electrical installations are safe and compliant. You can stay up to date on the NEC by subscribing to industry publications, attending training courses, and consulting with qualified electricians. The NEC is a valuable resource for anyone involved in electrical work. By following the NEC guidelines, you can help to ensure the safety and reliability of your electrical installations.